Other day I was thinking, we remember I didn't take the screenshot, but we will read from here. Devotional service, however, is eternally going on in the eternal spiritual world. Therefore, the only factual process of self-realizations or God realization is devotional service. And one who takes to this process takes to the real process of God realization. In this regard, Srila Sridhar Swami has composed a verse which conveys the idea that the supreme source of everything, the supreme personality of Godhead, is so great and unlimited that it is not possible for the living entity to understand him by any material acquisition. One should therefore pray to the Lord to be engaged in his devotional service eternally, so that by the grace of the Lord one can understand the supreme source of creation. The supreme source of creation, the supreme Lord, reveals himself only to the devotees. In the fourth chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says to Arjuna, quote, "My dear Arjuna, because you are my devotee and because you are my intimate friend, I shall reveal to you the process of understanding me." Unquote. In other words, the supreme source of creation, the supreme personality of Godhead, cannot be understood by our own endeavor. We have to please him with devotional service, and then he will reveal himself to us. Then we can understand him to some extent, not 100%. There is a Padma Purana, is a very nice verse. It was in my mind, but it doesn't come. But it says that with these material senses, it's impossible to understand Krishna. Ataha Sri Namadi na bhavet grahyam indriya Shrivan mukhehi jehvado swayam eva spurtiyadha. But if we purified our senses by chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra so nicely, attentively, then all our senses will become purified. And everything that we need to know, Krishna will reveal to us within our heart. So this is also confirming that there is no way with our own effort we will be able to understand Sri Krishna. There are different kind of philosophers who have tried to understand the Supreme Source by their mental speculation. There are generally 6 kind of mental speculators whose speculations are called Saddarsana. All these philosophers are impersonalists and known as Mayavadis. Every one of them has tried to establish his own opinion, although they all have later compromised and stated that all opinions lead to the same goal and that every opinion is therefore valid. According to the prayers of the personified Vedas, however, none of them is valid because the process of knowledge is created within the temporary material world. They have all missed the real point, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, or the Absolute Truth, can be understood only by devotional service. Bhaktya mam abhijanati. That's also verse from the Bhagavad Gita confirm these things. So we should feel very happy. At least we are in a group where we remain steadfast and sincere. We have a chance to understand Krishna at to the extent that he would like us to know him. And that's why Krishna says that nobody knows him in truth. Brahma Bhuta Pasanatma Na Sochati Na Kamsati Sama Sarveshu Bhuteshu Na Bhaktim Labhate. We have to become free from all this lamentation and hankering. Then and then we will become peaceful in our life. As long as we are not satisfied materially for something and we are putting our effort, or something that we have that has been taken away and we become miserable, then the peacefulness to perform the devotional service will not come our way. One class of philosophers known as Mimaskas, represented by sages such as Jaimini, have concluded that everyone should engage in past activity or prescribed duties, and that such activity will lead one to the highest perfection if they remain sincere. It's yoga ladder we learn. Person can start from karma yoga, jnana yoga, dhyana yoga, and bhakti yoga. But they have to remain steadfast. Otherwise, their mind and heart will become diverted and they will never achieve the goal. But this is contradicted in the 9th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, where Lord Krishna says that by pious activity one may be elevated to the heavenly planet, but that as soon as one's accumulation of pious activity is used up, one has to come down, leave the enjoyment of the higher standard of material prosperity in the heavenly planets, and immediately come down again to these lower planets. How many times we have made the trips? It's hard to calculate, but millions of lives. Where the duration of life is very short, where the standard of material happiness is of a lower grade. Exact word used in the Bhagavad Gita are Kshine Punye Mrutya Lokam Visanti. Therefore, the conclusion of the Mimamsaka philosopher that pious activity will lead one to the absolute truth is not valid. Although a pure devotee is by nature inclined to perform pious activities, no one can attain the favor of the Supreme Personality Godhead by pious activity alone. Pious activity may purify one of the contamination caused by the ignorance and passion, but this purification is automatically attained by devotee constantly engaged in hearing the transcendental message of Godhead in the form of a Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, or similar scriptures. From the Bhagavad Gita, we understand that even a person who is not up to the standard of a pious activities, but who is absolutely engaged in devotional service, is to be considered well situated on the path of spiritual perfection. It is also said in the Bhagavad Gita that a person who is engaged in devotional service with love and faith is guided from within by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Chaitya Guru. The Lord Himself as Paramatma, or the spiritual master sitting within one's heart, gives the devotee exact direction by which he can gradually go back to Godhead. The conclusion of the Mimamsaka philosopher is not actually the truth which can lead one to real understanding. Similarly, there are Sankhya philosophers, metaphysicians, or materialistic scientists who study this cosmic manifestation by their invented scientific method and do not recognize the supreme authority of God as the creator of the cosmic manifestation. They wrongly conclude that the reaction of the material elements are the original cause of creation. The Bhagavad Gita, however, does not accept that theory. It is clearly said therein that behind the cosmic activities is the direction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. When I read this sentence, the puppet shows comes into my mind. How wonderfully they put the string and they put all the five string on the fingers, 10 fingers, and they move the finger and you can see that the puppets are dancing and doing everything. So we are also similarly runs by the three modes of material nature. We may think that I'm doing on my own, but that's not reality. We have been moved to act in a certain way at different time by the influence of the three modes of material nature. This fact is corroborated by the Vedic injunction Sadva Sumyedam Agra Asit, which means that the origin of the creation existed before the cosmic manifestation. Therefore, the material elements cannot be the cause of the material creation. Although the material elements are accepted as immediate cause. The ultimate cause is the Supreme Personality Godhead Himself. Bhagavad Gita says, therefore, that material nature works under the direction of Krishna. What is that verse in Bhagavad Gita? That only through surrendering to Krishna you will cross over my material energy. Otherwise, it's impossible to cross over. I don't remember the verse exactly, but meaning is like that. The conclusion of the atheistic Sankhya philosophy is that because the effects, the phenomena of this material world are temporary or illusory, the cause is therefore also illusory. The Sankhya philosophers are in the favor of voidism, but the actual fact is that the original cause is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and that this cosmic manifestation is the temporary manifestation of His material energy. When this temporary manifestation is annihilated, it causes the eternal existence of the spiritual world, continues as it is, and therefore the spiritual world is called Sanatan Dham, the eternal abode. The conclusion of the Sankhya philosopher is therefore invalid. So these Vedas personified are killing all our misgiving by giving a solid example. And then there are the philosophers headed by Gautama and Kanada. They have minutely studied the cause and effect of the material elements and have ultimately come to the conclusion that automatic combination is the original cause of creation. At present, the materialistic scientists follow in the footsteps of Gautama and Kanada, who propounded this theory called Paramanuvada. This theory, however, cannot be supported, for the original cause of everything is not inert atoms. This is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, as well as in the Vedas, wherein it is stated, Eko Narayana Asit, quote, only Narayana existed before the creation, unquote. Srimad Bhagavatam and the Vedanta Sutra also says that the original cause is sentient and both indirectly and directly cognizant of everything within this creation. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Aham Sarvasya Prabhava, quote, I am the original cause of everything. And Mata Sarvam Pravartate, from me everything comes into existence. Therefore, atom may form the basic combination of material existence, but there these atoms are generated from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Thus, the philosophy of Gautama and Kanada cannot be supported. They didn't stop here. They say similarly, impersonal is headed by Astavakra and later by Shankaracharya, accept the impersonal Brahman effulgence as the cause of everything. According to their theory, the material manifestation is temporary and unreal, whereas the impersonal Brahman effulgence is reality. But this theory cannot be supported either, because the Lord Himself says in the Bhagavad Gita that the Brahman effulgence rests on His personality. It is confirmed in the Brahma Samhita that the Brahman effulgence is the personal bodily rays of Krishna. As such, impersonal Brahman cannot be the original cause of cosmic manifestation. The original cause is the all-perfect, sentient personality of Godhead Govinda. Again they say more, the most dangerous theory of the impersonality is that when God comes as an incarnation, He accepts a material body created by the three modes of material nature. This Mayavad theory has been condemned by the Lord Chaitanya as most offensive. He has said that anyone who accepts the transcendental body of the personality of Godhead to be made of material nature commits the greatest offense at the lotus feet of Vishnu. Similarly, the Bhagavad Gita also states that when the personality of Godhead descends in the human form, only fools and rascals deride Him. This actually occurred when Lord Krishna, Lord Rama, and Lord Chaitanya moved within human society as human beings. I'll be back. The personified Vedas condemn the impersonal conception as a gross misrepresentation. In the Brahma Samhita, the body of the Supreme Personality Godhead is described as Ananda Chinmaya Rash. The Supreme Personality of Godhead possesses a spiritual body, not a material body. He can enjoy anything through any part of his body, and therefore he is omnipotent. The limb of the material body can perform only a particular function. For example, the hands can hold but cannot see or hear. But because the body of the Supreme Personality Godhead is made of Ananda Chinmaya Rash and is thus Satchitananda Vigraha, he can enjoy anything and do everything with any of his limbs. Acceptance of the spiritual body of the Lord as material is dictated by the tendency to equate the Supreme Personality of Godhead with the conditioned soul. The conditioned soul has a material body. Therefore, if God also has a material body, then the impersonalist theory that the Supreme Personality of Godhead and the living entity are one and the same can be very easily propagated. We can see Krishna never fell sick, and we in the material world is horrible. Today I was just feeling so fatigued. I don't know why. I never like sleep, but I close my room and I make a pinch dark black. And I don't know, I was thinking that I need to take some rest. But because every couple of hours I do different things to remember Krishna. So suddenly I wake up and I say, what time it is? I completely forgot that I have to join at 2 o'clock. So please excuse me. But this is material, our body and our life. Any moment it can fail. Factually, when the Supreme Personality of Godhead comes, he exhibits a non-material body. And thus there is no difference between his childish body when he is lying on the lap of Mother Yasoda and his so-called grown-up body fighting with the demons. And that's why, the theory that Krishna was killed by the arrow of the hunter by hitting in his foot. What kind of theory is that? How can person get died if hit on the leg? But Krishna make this arrangement to satisfy who doesn't want to believe in him. And they feel completely satisfied. See, he has a material body. So if we want to sleep on the lap of Maya, Krishna will fulfill our desire nicely, that we even cannot recognize. Years and years will go by and then suddenly we wake up. What kind of life we have passed? That time is going to come as we become old. We will always reflect that my body was healthy, everything was there, I didn't take it seriously. And when we become old, everything will come on our way. Body will not function, mind will not function. And then we will feel, let me chant the holy name attentively. How is it possible? Unless we have a complete practice when we are young. So-called grown-up body fighting with the demon. In his childhood body, he also fought with demons such as Putana, Trunavartha, and Agashur, with strength equal to that with which he fought in his youth against demons like Dantavakra and Sisupa. In material life, as soon as a conditioned soul changes his body, he forgets everything of his past body. But from the Bhagavad Gita, we can understand that because Krishna has a Satchitananda body, he did not forget instructing the sun god about the Bhagavad Gita millions of years ago. The Lord is therefore known as Purushottama because he is the transcendental to both material and spiritual existence. That he is the cause of all cause means that he is the cause of the spiritual world and of the material world as well. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is omnipotent and omniscient. Therefore, because a material body can be neither omnipotent nor omniscient, the Lord's body is surely not material. The Mayavad theory that the personality of Godhead comes within this material world with the material body cannot be supported by any means. Bol Hari Bol, that song comes in my mind. Shampate Vipate. If you are happy, chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra. If you are unhappy, you chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra. If you are healthy, you chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra. If you are unhealthy, chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. But never give up chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. That's where the happiness lies. Now the personified Vedas is saying it can be concluded that all the theories of the materialistic philosophers are generated from temporary and illusory existence. Like the conclusion in a dream, such conclusions certainly cannot lead us to the absolute truth. The absolute truth can be realized only through devotional service. As the Lord says in the Bhagavad Gita, Bhakti Amam Abhijanati. Only by devotional service can one understand me. Srila Sridhar Swami has composed a nice verse in this regard, which states, quote, My dear Lord, let others engage in false argument and dry speculations, theorizing upon great philosophical theses. Let them loiter in the darkness of ignorance and illusion, falsely enjoying as if very learned scholars, although they are without knowledge of the Supreme Personality Godhead. As far as I am concerned, I wish to be liberated simply by chanting the holy name of all beautiful Supreme Personality of Godhead, Madhava, Vamana, Trinayana, Shankarshan, Sripati, and Govinda. Simply by chanting your transcendental names, O Lord Madhupati, let me become free from the contamination of this material existence. What a wonderful. In this way, the personified Vedas said, quote, Dear Lord, when a living entity, by your grace only, comes to the right conclusion about your exalted transcendental position, that also we got little understanding because of his mercy. We should be grateful to Krishna. He no longer bothers with the different theories manufactured by the mental speculators or so-called philosophers. Unquote. This is a reference to the speculative theories of Gautama, Kanada, Patanjali, and Kapila. There are actually two Kapilas. One Kapila, the son of Kardama Muni, is an incarnation of God, and the other is an atheist of the modern age. The atheistic Kapila is often misrepresented to be the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Lord Kapil, the incarnation of Godhead, appeared as the son of Kardama Muni long, long ago during the time of Swayambhu Manu. The modern age is the age of Vaivasvata Manu. So according to Mayavad philosophy, this material world or the material world is mithya or maya, false. The Mayavadi preaching principle is Brahma Satyam Jagat Jagan Mithya. Only the Brahman effulgence is true and the cosmic manifestation is illusory or false. But according to the Vaishnava philosophy, this cosmic manifestation is true because it is created by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says that He entered within this material world by one of His plenary portions, and thus the creation takes place. From the Vedas also we can understand that this asat or temporary cosmic manifestation is an emanation from the Supreme Sat or fact. From the Vedanta Sutra also, it is understood that everything has emanated from the Supreme Brahman. Therefore, the Vaishnavas do not take this cosmic manifestation to be false, because the Supreme Personality of Godhead has entered this cosmic manifestation in the form of His plenary expansion and caused the creation. The Vaishnava philosophers see everything in this material world in relationship with the Supreme Lord. This conception of the material world is very nicely explained by Srila Rupa Goswami, who says that when persons renounce the material world as illusory or false without knowing that the material world is a manifestation of the Supreme Lord, their renunciation is of no value. What do we have that we can give it to Krishna, right? Everything has been given to us by Krishna. We don't have anything. We don't owe anything. But whatever He has given, if we give little in return to the Supreme Personality Godhead, He becomes extremely happy. Like the child, I always remember the example. Child doesn't have an income, 3 year, 4 year, 5 year. But what they do, they keep all the change or everything into the piggy bank. And when the father's birthday comes, they bring with that money some gift, and the father becomes extremely happy that my son remembered me. He saved the money to give me a gift. So similarly, when we give it to Krishna, He became extremely pleased with us. Extremely pleased. So we should try to use this material energy as much as in service of Krishna, not for our own sense enjoyment. Otherwise, we will keep on suffering like anything. The Vaishnavas, however, are free of attachment to this material world, because although the material world is generally accepted as an object of sense gratification, the Vaishnavas are not in favor of sense gratification and are therefore not attached to material activities. The Vaishnava accept this material world according to the regulator principle of the Vedic injunctions and works without attachment. Because believe me or not, we will be not able to take even a pinch of salt when we will leave this world. Everything will be staying here. What is the use of becoming attached? That we have to give up one day, it's a matter of time. Since the Supreme Personality Godhead is the original cause of everything, the Vaishnava sees everything in relationship with Krishna, even in this material world. By such advanced knowledge, everything becomes spiritualized. In other words, everything in the material world is already spiritual. But due to our lack of knowledge, we see things as ours or material. These personified Vedas are really killing these Mayavadis, atheist people. The personified Vedas presented the example that those seeking gold do not reject gold earring, gold bangles, or anything else made of gold, simply because they are shaped differently from the original gold. All living entities are part and parcel of the Supreme Lord and are qualitatively one with Him, but they are now differently shaped in 8.4 million species of life, just like many different ornaments manufactured from the same source of gold. As one who is interested in gold, accept all differently shaped gold ornaments. So a Vaishnava, knowing well that all living entities are of the same quality as the Supreme Personality Godhead, accepts all living entities are eternal servant of God. A Vaishnava then has ample opportunity to show the Supreme Personality Godhead simply by reclaiming these conditions, misled living entities, training them in Krishna consciousness, and leading them back home, back to Godhead. The fact is that the mind of the living entities are now agitated by the three material qualities, and the living entities are therefore transmigrating as if in dreams from one body to another. When their consciousness is changed into Krishna consciousness, however, they immediately fix Krishna within their heart, and thus their path toward liberation becomes extremely clear. In all the Vedas, what time it is? Still we have one more minute. Oh, right time, Krishna. Tell me to check. I think in 1 minute we won't be able to read the complete paragraph, so I'm gonna try to take the screenshot. My phone is so. I hate the technologies. When it works, we feel so good. When it doesn't work, it gives so much anxiety. So I have taken a screenshot. So we will continue reading Krishna book, and still we have to do a lot of the